Thank you for tuning in to my oven roasted jerk chicken. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you go ahead and hit that button and let's hop right in. So I have here some tree mushrooms. I'm going to make a really quick and simple marinade with jerk seasoning, a bit of a bit of refined coconut oil, and a splash of the Jim Beam apple liqueur, which is completely optional. In any case, so just a really quick marinade, I'm going to take this and coat the mushrooms with this and into the oven at 300 degrees, and I just kind of let them sit and roast in there for about an hour while I make the other components of these jerk chicken thighs. All right. And there's two different techniques of making the vegan chicken thighs. This one I have right here is a very standard method. It's the easiest. It's what I used for two of my videos that are up on the channel. The latest one being the brown stewed chicken. So you just basically roast some mushrooms. They don't have to be the tree mushrooms, but you do need mushrooms, the portobello mushrooms shred as well. And so just some plain roasted mushrooms with salt and pepper. I have here some seitan with a bit of chickpea flour. I'm not going to heavily knead this. I take the mushrooms, toss them in there, and make a really quick mushroom dough. I shape this dough, and for a mock skin, I use the rice paper. And this, I do not pre-cook, I do not pre-steam them. When I make them like this with the mock skin, typically I use this for stews. And these are great, they go in the freezer just fine, so I definitely recommend that you try these out. And for the recipe amounts, you want to check the description box below. I will have a blog post for this video. And as I've said, you would take these and use these in stews. You can also use them in oven braise. And you can see the texture here is just like real meat without being real meat. And so you can see here I'm starting with the second method of making the vegan chicken thighs, and this is what I'm using for the jerk chicken. I'm trying this out for the first time, and this is without the chickpea flour, just the vital wheat gluten, just 1 cup, and a tablespoon and a half of baking powder. In goes my seasoning mix. And to the dough, I actually knead the dough this time. I knead the dough, squeeze out the bubbles, and I allow this dough to rest before I work with it. Here I'm shredding my roasted mushrooms, and you don't have to be shy when roasting your mushrooms. You can get a nice char on them. It really adds to the flavor. But for me, I just went with a very standard quick roast. And so these are ready. And again, I want to direct you to my blog page where the recipe and all the details will be posted. Now for the chicken skin, for the jerk chicken, I didn't want to just use the rice paper because the rice paper, when you roast it or when you bake it, it gets this bubbly texture, almost like a fried egg roll texture, the texture of the fried wonton, and that's not what I wanted. So what I did here is I sliced some potatoes really, really thin, and that is the outer layer of the mock chicken skin, and on the inner layer is that rice paper. This isn't an everyday thing. This is one of those recipes that you make every now and again. And so I've laid down the seitan dough, and there on top goes the mushrooms. And what the baking powder does to the dough is it breaks up those long gluten strands. So this method with using the baking powder is good for roasts. I wouldn't recommend using it for smaller applications like these chicken thighs, or maybe chicken, or any type of seitan burger, anything small. But for a large application, if you're making a roast, I definitely recommend it. So I'm not cooking these straight away, so I'm just wrapping them and setting them aside. As you can see, I just have the mock chicken skin, pop the, or a nice chunk of the mushroom dough right inside, and you just shape it, and it's ready to go to the pan. Into a pan, and this is some more of the unrefined coconut oil, and I'm just searing it on both sides. And I'm going to bake these in the oven at 350 degrees. I did not steam them. There was no water used in cooking these. But before I put them in the oven, I just coat them with a little bit more of that same marinade I used to roast the mushrooms, and they're ready. You can also check the blog site for the additional details on cooking these jerk chicken thighs. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the recipe, and I will see you next time. Before you leave, make sure you go over and check out my Instagram account, and go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I would love to see your food pictures, so make sure you tag me in any of your vegan food pictures, and check out some of my other videos. I have a couple linked in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share it, and I will see you next time.